Good evening, Philippines. This is Inside Manila's Daily News Roundup. DOJ to investigate funds misused of previous administration. The Department of Justice will look into the alleged misuse of funds by the previous administration of the Disbursement Acceleration Program. Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre II would also probe possible politicians whom benefited in the said program, which the Supreme Court fined unconstitutional. Aguirre also said that the DOJ will form a fact-finding committee whom will also investigate former President Benigno Aquino III, former Budget Secretary Florencio Abad, and even Senator Antonio Trillanes. Recently, the Office of the Ombudsman clears Aquino and indicted Abad over unlawful implementation of the DAP. Duterte denies forming military alliances with China and Japan. President Rodrigo Duterte says that he's not to enter any military alliance with other countries due to current commitment to the RPUS Pact. The chief executive made the announcement at the inauguration of the Metropolitan Manila Development Authority Crisis Management Center. He said that the Philippines is not allowed to enter other alliances due to treaty with the Americans. However, the country can engage to economic agreements. This is to clarify that his recent meetings with China and Japan were just meant to build camaraderie between the two nations. Last October, Duterte visited China, while last January, Japan Prime Minister Shinzo Abe visited his house in Davao City. Ejercito denounced Duterte's move to give government houses to settlers. Senator J.V. Ejercito expressed disagreement on President Rodrigo Duterte's directive to hand over the housing units in Pandi, Bulacan to Kalipunan ng Damayang Mahihirap members. The housing projects were supposed to be awarded to the Philippine National Police and Armed Forces of the Philippines members, but Duterte called off the eviction and decided to give the houses to Kadamay to avoid turmoil. In a statement, the senator said that he is against the hostage of a government project just to suffice anyone's shelter unless in times of calamity. Ejercito said, "While I appreciate President Duterte's heart for the poor and homeless, as chair of the Urban Planning, Housing and Resettlement Committee, this should not be means for anyone to become a recipient of housing projects." And that concludes the country's latest news and headlines. Stay tuned for more or visit www.insidemanila.ph. This is Inside Manila. Good evening.